Welcome to the Capital Region International Airport. My name is Spencer Flynn, Marketing Manager, and today I'm going to take you on a tour. So stay tuned. The first stop of the tour is going to be the check-in counter. Each airline has a check-in counter, so you'll want to make sure you're going to the right one when you arrive. If you're not checking bags, you can use the digital check-in kiosks seen below. However, if you are checking a bag or if you have any questions, you want to head on up to the counter and ask one of the gate agents for help. There's lots of different jobs you can have with an airline at an airport. It doesn't mean you just have to be a pilot or a flight attendant. In fact, the majority of their employees stay here on the ground at the airport. From checking folks in as a gate agent, whether it's downstairs here or up at the actual gate, to ushering the planes in, out on the tarmac, and even loading and unloading baggage. There's a number of different roles that you still get to work for the airline, but again, you don't have to be a pilot or a flight attendant. Your next stop here at the airport is going to be the TSA security screening checkpoint. Here's where you'll go through metal detectors and take off your shoes, as well as set your carry-on luggage into the X-ray machine. TSA sees over 2 million passengers per day throughout the entire country, and they are pivotal to keeping our passengers safe. Before you get here, make sure you read up on the requirements of what are allowed and not allowed through the checkpoint, and what you'll be asked to do when you arrive at the checkpoint. While our TSA officers do work here at the airport, it's important to note they're actually federal employees of the Transportation Security Administration. For jobs like that, you'll want to apply at the federal level, and then from there, you'll be sent to a different airport all over the country. They are pivotal in keeping our passengers safe and keeping everything that's not allowed on airplanes out. Baggage claim is likely going to be one of your last stops here at the airport. This is where you'll come to grab any luggage that you checked on the airplane, as well as anything that you may have gate checked. You'll wait after your flight arrives to see which of our 2 baggage carousels the equipment comes out on, and from there, you're ready to head home. Of course, if you're not home and you need to get somewhere on your vacation, once you grab your checked luggage, you'll need to head over to one of the rental car counters or call for a taxi, Uber, or Lyft. Some airports even have shuttles to get you to public transportation. While not specific to airports, one of the most important jobs here at the airport is our cab, taxi, Uber, Lyft, and other car service drivers. These folks pick passengers up from all across the world and get them to their final destination. It's a great opportunity to meet people from all over, as well as give them an insight into the city that they've just landed in. Our rental car partners employ a number of people to make sure all of our passengers get where they need to go. That includes station managers, customer service assistants, as well as porters, whose job it is to simply transport cars all around the country. Once you find out which gate you're flying out of, you want to make sure you find a seat very close. That way, you'll be able to hear any announcements about delays, seating, or any other changes you may need to hear about. Here, you can see we're at the Delta counter. And again, it's fairly empty due to the coronavirus, but usually this place would be packed. This gate counter is another example of one of the many opportunities you have to work for an airline without necessarily being a pilot or up in the plane. Here, gate agents check you into the flight specifically, answer any other questions you have, and at smaller airports like ours, actually do other jobs such as marshaling in planes, checking luggage, and doing plane cleaning. We're now in one of the newest segments of our airport. Built in the late 50s, early 60s, our airport has seen many remodels with updates to features that passengers today need. This is called the Capitol Brewport. It's inspired by a local restaurant called Lansing Brewing Company, and the perfect place to grab a quick bite or drink before your flight. Along with the amazing food, it's got a spectacular view of our runway, which means you can sit here and enjoy a sandwich while you watch your flight come in for the day. It takes a huge team to keep an airport operational, and one of the groups that often gets overlooked is the food service workers. Airports of our size generally have 2 or 3 restaurants, but something like Detroit might have hundreds, and each of those restaurants needs a full crew, just like a non-airport restaurant, to keep operational. So if you're interested in cooking or managing a restaurant, there are plenty of opportunities for you here at the airport. Here at the Capital Region International Airport, we work hard to make sure we represent the community. So when you're here waiting for your flight or when you land home, you know where you're at. One of those opportunities is this short story machine that we work with Michigan State University to install. When you come over here, you're able to push one of these 3 buttons and read a short story that's 1 minute, 3 minutes, or 5 minutes long, written by a local author. I'm now in a room of the airport that most of our passengers will never see. This room used to be a beautiful steakhouse and then a tiki lounge with Hawaiian-themed decorations all around. Back in the 70s and 80s, when it was more exciting to come to the airport and watch planes take off, this used to be packed every weekend with people dressed up and ready to have a beautiful evening at the airport. Our airport serves as a gateway to the city of Lansing and the whole state of Michigan, so it's important for us to welcome folks to our city. Behind me, you'll see a giant mural that every passenger that comes to Lansing sees as they land, and it's a great way for us to welcome them to our beautiful city. The next behind-the-scenes look here at the airport is how your luggage gets from your plane to the baggage carousel. Because we have such rough weather here in Michigan, this garage door bay allows the tugs to pull trailers full of luggage into an enclosed space before being unloaded to keep your luggage as clean and safe as possible. It then gets loaded on these belts you can see behind me and goes through the wall and out to the front where our passengers are able to pick up their luggage. Here, we're in our operations department. While most of our passengers will never interact with this group, they are one of the most important to keep this airport running. They handle everything from dispatch to communication between airlines and ground control and everything in between. I'll take you on a quick tour of the operations control room, but because there's a lot of sensitive information, we can't spend much time in there. We're now in the operations center, and as you can see, there's a number of screens monitoring data and security for all around the airfield. This is one of the reasons this team is so critical, as they've got their finger on the pulse of everything happening here at the Capital Region International Airport. Behind me, you'll see a gigantic UPS plane. This is something that most passengers don't think about when they think about an airport, but cargo operations are pivotal to not only the entire world getting goods and services they need, but to keeping airports open and operational. UPS brings 2 to 3 of these giant cargo jets in a day to get products shipped around our state and throughout the entire world. During the holiday season, Christmas and Thanksgiving, we see up to 5 of these planes come in and out each and every day as shipping traffic increases greatly. We're now on the completely opposite side of the runway from the terminal, which you can see way in the back over my shoulder. Here, we've got our service building as well as our firefighting station that I'm going to take you on a quick tour of. Now, we're out in our maintenance building. This is where we store and maintain all of the massive equipment that it takes to keep the airport running. You'll see behind me that what we have out here for the most part is for our summer operations. But this big piece of equipment directly behind me is our snow plow that keeps the runway clear all throughout the winter. This giant machine is just one of the many toys that our employees get to play with all summer while keeping our passengers safe. And as you can see, it's pretty giant. We're now in the ARF station, where we keep all of our firefighting equipment and of course our fire trucks, which you can see behind me. These trucks look a bit different than what you might be used to, both in color and shape and size. That's because fighting fires on the airport requires different tactics, and we have different needs for our officers. These trucks are ready to go at a moment's notice, and we do regular drills to practice and make sure everybody is up to date on their training. If you're interested in policing or firefighting, an airport is a great opportunity for you. Our officers are called public safety officers and train in both disciplines. As you can see behind me, they store their equipment here in the fire barn for fighting fires, but many times they're out on patrol throughout the terminal and the airway. Now that we've completed the tour of the airport, I wanted to talk a little bit more in depth about some of the job opportunities we have here at the Capital Region International Airport, and that you'll find at airports all across the world. The first and probably the most obvious are jobs with airlines themselves. Of course, you have the pilots and the flight attendants who board the planes and join passengers on their trips as they drive all over the country. But beyond that, there's a huge crew of people that keep those planes operational and are here to check in passengers. Those jobs include mechanics, cleaning personnel, gate agents, and folks who work down on the ramp to usher those planes in and guide them to the right spot. The other group of people here at the airport are the airport employees. And if anything, that's a wider range of folks than the airlines. Because we're a business, we have all of your standard people that a business needs to operate. That means people who are experts in finances, experts in human resources, experts in marketing, and facilities and maintenance. So if you're looking to be involved in the industry but don't necessarily have an interest in mechanics or in flying, there's still plenty of opportunities to be at the airport and interface with passengers on a day-to-day basis. Of course, along with the non-aviation related jobs here at the airport, we have plenty of other opportunities that are very specific to the airport's operation. The first one would be our operations department. We saw on the tour that they sit and watch and monitor everything that's going on here at the airport. That role involves many different things, which means each day is completely different. Most days, they'll be out on the airfield inspecting the airfield for any damage or obstructions, at least twice. They'll also spend time inside the airport communicating with airlines, passengers, and the control tower. Finally, they operate as our emergency dispatchers here, so should an emergency occur, they're the ones who manage to get the right people to the right spot on time to make sure the problem can be resolved. The next group here at the airport who works hand in hand with the operations department is our public safety officers. Our public safety officers are similar to police or firefighters, except for here at the airport, they work as both. They're trained to handle specific firefighting techniques that are involved here at airports, as well as policing techniques that are required here, as their day-to-day is slightly different than what a regular police officer might experience on a beat. Those officers still go through the police academy, or the fire academy, or both, and need all of the training of a regular police officer. It's just that when they're placed here, they deal with a slightly different set of situations, problems, and ways to help folks. The largest group in the airport team is our maintenance folks. They handle keeping everything clean, working, and operational throughout the terminal, the runway, and everything in between. This means that if you're employed in our maintenance division, you never have the same day one day after another. Some of our technicians spend all their time working on the terminal and the building itself, so they may be plumbers or electricians or specialize in painting and construction, while other technicians are focused on heavy equipment, operating bulldozers and snowplows and lawnmowers to keep everything up to snuff to make sure our planes can land safely. Still another group is those that take care of the equipment that our other drivers ride. With so much equipment that we rely on day in, day out, it's important we keep up to date on our maintenance, but also have a crew at the ready to fix anything that may break to make sure our passengers can get on their planes safely and arrive at their destinations quickly. Well, that wraps up today's tour of the airport. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn a little bit more about the airport. And if you have any questions, feel free to let us know. Thanks so much, and we hope to see you flying Lansing soon.